We are particularly honored today to have with us, as we mentioned, the head of the board of the Girl Scouts of USA, Connie Lindsey. In Connie's non-volunteer other life that she doesn't spend as much time on because she has to do Girl Scouts, she is the executive vice president and head of corporate social responsibility at Northern Trust Bank in Chicago, where she's responsible for design and implementation of global corporate responsibility strategies for Northern Trust, as well as providing oversight and leadership in the firm's response to environmental and social issues, both within the community, within the marketplace, and within their workplace. In addition to being our highest ranking volunteer member of our 3.2 million members around the country, Connie's also a delegate for Vision 2020, which is a national project focused on advancing gender equality. It's very consistent with our mission. Founding member of the advisory board of the Center for Green Schools, also very consistent with what Girl Scouts does. Member of the Board of Governors of the Metropolitan Club of Chicago, excuse me, and a member of the Economic Club of Chicago. During her induction ceremony, Connie talked about leadership, and she said, great leaders are great servants. And this is something that I absolutely am passionate about as well. It's why all of you are actually leaders in your own capacity as volunteers, because you are serving others. We serve the best interests of girls by ensuring that Girl Scouts has the structure, the focus, the programs necessary to sustain another century of preparing our girls to be the leaders of tomorrow. And Connie is a very passionate and powerful and successful spearheading of that mission. And thank you so much for joining us, Connie Lindsey.
Good morning, and thank you so much for the warm introduction and just the incredible hospitality here in Dallas. I said to Colleen when I got the call from headquarters to come back and be with you today, the staff at headquarters said, you know, Connie, you were just there for the state fair, and we're trying to make sure that we manage your time, and that I said, we're not going to have that conversation. I'm going back to Dallas. So it's great to be with you today. It's also a special treat for me to be here. My sister, Tracy Burns, we're a Girl Scout family, is here with me. And my baby sister just relocated here to Dallas yesterday. She and her husband are now at their house unpacking boxes. That's the only reason she's not here. But I said to Colleen, I'm volunteering her in any capacity, time, talent, and treasure. She too is a Girl Scout that you need. I sent her a text to say, I've already volunteered you to do some work around the November event. So she'll be with you. You'll see her. She's Karen Lindsey Lloyd. Okay. Great. So you'll see her. So once again, it's a pleasure to be here to celebrate and honor the very lifeblood of our movement, our amazing, dedicated, hardworking volunteers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I, too, am a volunteer and a lifetime Girl Scout. Started as a brownie at my church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where I grew up, and went all the way through cadet. Colleen, I started in college as an engineering major, finished in finance, so I was a STEM person as well. But I especially want to thank you, Colleen, for your work, your incredible passion, your vision, your indefatigable pursuit of doing every fabulous thing you can for our girls. So I'm deeply grateful to you for that. I also want to thank the board chair, Valerie Freeman, and of course, incoming board chair, Millie Bradley, for giving me the opportunity to speak at your annual meeting. And thanks again to the awesome staff. That's how we refer to the staff here in Dallas whenever I see somebody. Awesome staff. That's what we always say that. But the awesome staff, for your graciousness, for your great big brownie smiles no matter where I go, and for the weather today. Thank you, Colleen. It was 35 and rainy when Tracy and I were delayed trying to get out of Chicago yesterday, so this was yet another gift. Now, I know that We are on a timeline, and I'm always committed to being chronically prompt. And I promise to adhere this morning to the 3 B's that a wise counselor and coach said to me once about any good public speech. And that's to be good, be brief, and be gone. So I'll cover those with you. It was over a century ago that our founder, Juliette Gordon-Low, had a vision of an organization that would take up the cause for girls. And Juliette was no shy, retiring personality. She was a bold visionary. She was a courageous leader. She was the kind of woman, and I think I met her when we walked in today. She's looking fabulous for 101. But Juliette was the kind of person that any of us would love to meet, boy or girl, man or woman. This organization that she dreamt and gave birth to would challenge convention and push the envelope to ensure that American girls had a place to grow, to learn, to develop, and to acquire the skills they would need to succeed. And they did it in an environment that was both nurturing and encouraging. I was an incredibly shy brownie who didn't like to be seen. I failed at camping because I had such horrible allergies. But the wonderful thing about being with my Girl Scout sisters, was that they created a way for me to be a part of that community. My troop leader said to me, "Connie, you matter, and don't you let anyone tell you that you can't or that you don't. You matter." That is a message that I think is so critical for all of us here today. You matter because what you write on the tablet of the heart of a girl will stay with her forever. You're planting trees under whose shade you may never stand, but those roots grow deep in this movement that we call Girl Scouting. And through the tenacity and passion, Juliette Gordon-Low created our movement. And for 101 years now, this legacy has been carried forward by the people, all of us who are here today. If the girls that our movement produce are to be a living legacy to the vision of Juliette, it's only because of the hard work of every single man and woman in this room. The troop leaders, the organizers, the cookie parents, the dedicated staff who are the backbone of our movement. You've played such essential roles in keeping the passion for Girl Scouting alive, for girls in every corner of our country, in every zip code in our country. We teach our girls that net worth is not the same as self-worth. That if you grew up in an inner city like I did, where role models were very different than the kind of people that I know and see and pray to God that I've become, Girl Scouting does that for a girl. That's why we have to continue. You are the pivotal connective tissue that brings the ideals and values behind our organization to the modern girl. And just a little bit about technology. We understand the critical importance of leveraging technology in this movement. We are a movement. We have to move. We're not static. And when we leverage technology appropriately, it has a profound implication on girls. It has a profound implication on the ways that we communicate. And at the national level, recognizing that in order to work with you, our volunteers, we must make it easier for you to connect with us. For too long, we have been talking about it. We've admired the problem long enough. We now have a chief technology officer who will work with you in a very rigorous way to ensure that technology is applied appropriately, and that our commitment is to ensure that fabulous councils like here in Northeast Texas, we're bringing those volunteers in, because without the connective tissue of the volunteer, we can't bring in more girls. You are our muscle, the arms and hands that actually do the work, day in and day out with our girls. You create the next generation of female leadership, and our girls are watching. We have courage, conviction, and commitment to make sure that every girl is exposed or has the opportunity to become a Girl Scout. But it's our conduct, our character, and our conversation that convinces them that Girl Scouts is where they want to be, that they matter here, that we're going to provide an environment where their God-given talents and gifts can be nurtured and grown and supported. Without your involvement and your passion, Girl Scouting could not have survived for over a century. As a national movement and a national board, we can only articulate a vision. We can dream big, We can work to design what we hope will be fun and innovative programs for girls. And as I listen to that bold strategy, I'm reminded of what one author said, that strategy without execution is hallucination. So we can all define big strategies, bold visions, BHAGs, big, hairy, audacious goals, but without the volunteers, the lifeblood, the connective tissue, the muscle in this room who work tirelessly to bring this vision to life, as you pour your heart and soul into your troops, the programs would never reach the girls, and our vision would never be realized. There is a Greek proverb that says, "Let us plant that tree under whose shade we may never stand, but let the roots grow deep so that it can nourish us for generations to come." And while many of us may never see the true impact that we have on the lives of girls with whom we work, my beloved troop leader, Miss Pearline James, who's gone on to be with the Lord, I know that she's looking down on me from heaven saying, that little girl who came into the troop so many years ago, afraid, concerned, not fitting in because I liked engineering and math, I was in the Spanish club, I played clarinet, all of those things, but she helped me find my voice. But she also instilled in me a spirit of service, that to whom much is given, much is required, and that as each of us goes about what our life's purpose is, to connect into that, we should be the ignition that can transform the energy that can make a difference in the life of someone else. So thank you, each and every one of you, from the top of my heart, for the investment that you make in the lives of our girls and the value that you have in our movement. As the treasurer was talking about the phenomenal fundraising year you had, $5 million, that's incredible. I said to Colleen on the phone, and I do this and my husband laughs, there are 113 Girl Scout councils, as you know, and I try to ensure that I go around to every council, that I hope that I leave a little bit of me with you, because I certainly take all of you with me as I travel around the world in serving this great movement, but I also like to put a little treasure in there as well. So I will be today making sure that I leave a little treasure with you at the leadership level. That's important to me as well. Because our girls can't be what they cannot see. When we talk about financial literacy, it is making sure that we make the financial investments. We have 100% board giving at the national level. My husband and I have made a 5-year commitment to Girl Scouting, and yes, Girl Scouts is in our will and in our trust. So we want that legacy building to be a part of that. And I don't say that to boast. I say that to drive home the point that our mission needs money to move. And a part of the leadership that we have is to ensure that the foundation and the work that you all put into this with such tenacity, with such conviction, and with such continuity, that there has to be the right financial support. And as volunteers, you don't operate in a vacuum, and you don't communicate exclusively with your troops. You really are the vital muscle that connects the body of our movement to the framework laid out by us at GSUSA. You tell us what works and what doesn't, and you do that quite vociferously, and we listen. You let us know what resonates with girls. You let us know what girls are responding to, what ignites their passion. Are we moving at the speed of girls? Are we delivering things to girls that make sense to them, that's relevant? Your insight and feedback informs the soul of our movement. It drives programming, strategic priorities that helps us reach girls and deliver programming from Texas to Alaska and around the globe. Volunteers are our ambassadors, but the truth is you are also our representatives. When we do the work that we do, wherever we do it in this country and around the world, we represent Girl Scouting. Wherever I go, the biggest applause I get is not because of the work I do or anything else. When I say, I am a Girl Scout, and I volunteer for Girl Scouts, and I ask groups of executive women, wherever I am, to stand up, generally over 80% of the room will stand up. And they have a great story about Girl Scouting. We know that the first women in space were Girl Scouts. We know that women on Capitol Hill, we have Troop Capitol Hill, they were Girl Scouts. And so when we take the kind of values into the world that come from having been a Girl Scout, we know that we can change the world. You, our volunteers, speak for our girls, always with their interests and well-being in mind. and your vital insights are at least as important in guiding the direction of our movement as they are in the development of our girls. In his acceptance speech for the Nobel Prize, Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Every time I take a flight, I'm always mindful of the many people who make the successful journey possible, the known pilots and the unknown ground crew." Today, we're celebrating our unknown ground crew, all of you, some of whom are not in front of the microphone, some of whom others may never know, but you are the reason that we are able to take successful flight in this Girl Scout movement. You show up every day with the heart of a volunteer, a heart that beats in a different way, because you do it for love of movement, for love of service, for love of this Girl Scout mission. You are the ground crew. Without you, we could not take off. We could not give girls their wings, not just to fly up from brownies to Girl Scout to cadet to ambassador, but in life. Whatever they choose to do, knowing that they have the right, the responsibility, and the opportunity to make their difference in the world. And without you, the outreach to our communities to serve as advocates for pathways into our organization, we could never grow this movement. And yes, we have challenges. We have Girl Scout challenges. The economy affects us just as it does every other organization. But we also know that we have the best leadership minds. The board that you just inducted today, the way that they will serve, the governance process, the accountability that is so very necessary to ensure that we have the best processes, that we understand the implications of why we need to do fundraising, why we need to have the best technology, and most importantly, why we need to have the tender love and care of our volunteers, the heart and soul of this Girl Scout movement. So I ask you, continue to support our cause. Continue to ignite the flame for our movement and the girls in your communities. Continue to spread the word about Girl Scouting and what Girl Scouting can do for a girl. And when someone asks if Girl Scouting is still relevant, tell them the story. Tell them the story of the girl I met at a Catholic church in Chicago who said to me, "Ms. Lindsey, I have a choice between Girl Scouting and a gang. The gang has colors and a promise. Girl Scouting has colors and a promise. How do I choose?" I tell her that when you become a part of this Girl Scout family, you're a part of an organization that will be with you for life. We want you to choose life, to choose a better life, that we care about you, that there are adults who will support you. And when I attend a gold award ceremonies for our girls and young women, and I know that our future is secure, that even as my husband battles incurable blood cancer, I believe that there is a Girl Scout with a cure for cancer, and we need to nurture her through a STEM program that will allow her to deliver that cure, that we'll all celebrate. That's why we're relevant, and that's why I believe that, in my view, there is nothing better for our nation, our world, than the Girl Scout experience. And finally, volunteering can be difficult. Most of the time when I talk to people about my volunteering role, they think this is what I do. They say, "Well, it's so wonderful and interesting that you work for Girl Scouts." And I say, "I'm a volunteer. I'm a volunteer." But that's the message as well. All of us have something that we can give. I know that you all have other demands on your time, other places you could be, but look at you sitting here on this beautiful Saturday morning in the midst of all of this beautiful, natural beauty, to be inside this room because you know the work that we have to do, your willingness to give. They say that volunteers are not paid, but not because we're worthless, but because we are priceless. Standing here with you today, touching you, hugging you, smiling at you, being present with you, I know that that sentiment is entirely true. You are priceless. I thank you for what you do every day to inspire a girl, what you do to inspire one another, to uplift when you think that the job is just too big, that if we listen to media that would tell us that our world is going in the wrong direction, all of us here in this room know that's not true. We just need to grab a Girl Scout, and she will tell us why the world is still a wonderful place. Every day you remind us and me why we're really here and what our movement is really about. Service to the girls of America, to develop girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. I'd like to close with one of my favorite poems from George Bernard Shaw. It says, "This is the true joy in life, the being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch, which I have got hold of, but for the moment. And I want to make it burn as brightly as I can before passing it on to future generations." Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Is she not the most amazing national president we can have? So, as a token of our appreciation, Connie was here in September, and the national office did say, "But you were just there." She took a fabulous picture with all our Tejas riders, and we've had it framed. For the official ribbon cutting. And you don't have to take it on the plane, we'll mail it to you.